The interview panel was already irritated. The final candidate was late. Not 5 minutes late, 40. When the door finally opened, it wasn't the polished applicant in a suit they expected. It was Mr. DeHaan, the campus janitor, still wearing his gray cleaning uniform, holding a thin brown envelope. The room went silent. Then, someone laughed. Not loudly, but loud enough. For 3 years, Mr. DeHaan had worked the night shifts at Hanmin University. Students barely noticed him, professors barely greeted him. He emptied trash cans, mopped lecture halls, fixed broken chairs. But what nobody saw was what he did after midnight, when the campus was empty, and the world assumed he had no ambition. He sat in the back row of those empty lecture halls, and he studied. So, why was a janitor applying for the university's most competitive international research scholarship? And who on earth approved his application? Professor Min adjusted her glasses. This scholarship is for doctoral researchers, she said, her voice calm but firm. DeHaan nodded. Yes, Mom, you don't hold a master's degree. No, ma'am, you don't even hold a bachelor's degree. No, ma'am. The silence in the room thickened. One board member whispered to another, is this some kind of joke? That's when DeHaan stepped forward and placed the brown envelope on the polished table. May I ask that you read what's inside first? You see, DeHaan wasn't always a janitor. Years ago, he had been a top engineering student, full of promise, until his father collapsed from a stroke. The medical bills piled up. His younger sister had to stay in school, and a choice had to be made. Someone had to leave college. He left quietly, no ceremony, no complaint. He worked construction, then long factory shifts, and finally, university maintenance. Not because he lacked intelligence, but because responsibility came first. Professor Min reluctantly opened the envelope. Inside were research drafts, complex prototype diagrams, and pages of simulation data. There were also published online engineering papers and letters of recommendation from professors at international institutions. How? DeHaan explained softly. I submitted my work anonymously to online research forums. Some professors responded. One of the board members froze. He recognized the diagrams. They had been circulating in global academic groups for months, praised, shared, debated, and admired. But no one knew who the brilliant, anonymous author was. Until this very moment. But if his research was that strong, why was he still cleaning floors? He never applied for funding. He never introduced himself. He believed that degrees defined worth, and he had none. That was until a visiting lecturer found him studying at 2 in the morning and asked him a simple question. Why are you hiding? That lecturer helped him file the scholarship application, without telling a soul. The final document inside the envelope was sealed separately. It was marked, open last. Professor Min hesitated, then broke the seal. Inside was a letter, not from DeHaan, but from the university's former president. It confirmed something shocking. Years ago, DeHaan had actually qualified for a full scholarship, but due to a clerical oversight during a financial restructuring, his award letter was never sent. The funding was reassigned. He was supposed to be here all along. The room went silent again. This time, no one was laughing. For the first time, Professor Min stood up. Not to dismiss him, but to bow her head slightly. We failed you, she said. DeHaan simply shook his head. No, life tested me. That's different. 1 week later, the university announced something unprecedented. Not only was DeHaan awarded the full research scholarship, he was offered immediate enrollment with full academic recognition of his published work. But he made one request. He wanted to clean his first lecture hall, by himself, one last time. Because, as he said, I don't want to forget who I was when nobody believed in me. On his first official day as a doctoral researcher, students filled the same lecture hall he used to mop. But this time, they weren't stepping over wet floors. They were on their feet, applauding, not for a janitor, not for a title, but for the power of resilience. Sometimes the world laughs because it only sees the uniform, not the potential hidden inside. But time has a funny way of opening the envelopes that people tried to ignore. Thanks for watching.